Hello Hambini fans and welcome to another episode of Hambini Reams. In today's episode, fucking hell. So I'm off on one. Right, Hambini Sunday Reaming. Let's just check the pen is working. It is indeedy. Right, by Hambini, age 5. Remember to hit me up on Patreon. I'm on Instagram and on Facebook. Right, disclaimer, if you are new here, I have to put this up now because I'm famous. Don't believe anything you hear in this video, it is probably wrong. This was recorded whilst I was drunk and I'm 5 years old and I have a pink princess safety blanket, so take from that what you will. And finally, I can say I'm a journalist, but a shite one. Right, first of all, Euro shite. Oh, fuck's sake. Right, Euro shite. I will be at Euroshite on the business days, which are the 3rd and 4th of July. And I think the 5th of July might also be a business day. But that is the days when you can go into Hall 10 or Hall 11. It's like 3 floors of the perfect, it's like basically AliExpress that you can go and visit. That's the best way of describing it. You can go in there and buy anything. You can go in there and then commission someone to engineer you a replacement kidney if you are that way inclined. So come and visit me at Eurobike or do whatever. I will be staying in Frankfurt, and in fact I have to book a hotel in Mannheim because I've got to go there as well. Anyway, right, firstly this, which was Qvist patent versus Elite. Now I did bring this up in my last sort of Sunday Reaming video, and since then the Qvist man, Roman, he contacted me, or did I contact him? I can't remember. One way or the other, we got in touch. And I spoke to him for about an hour, and he is a fairly, delightful chap. But he was a bit upset that I went and got the only bit from his entire Instagram that said, we manufacture all our parts in-house, and I picked up on it. Apparently the rest of it, I haven't checked in great detail, it doesn't say that. He said that, the bearings are brought in. So for that, I must apologise. In the grand scheme of things, if you're looking at the wider picture, where are Qvist and Elite going? Well, I guess they're in negotiations about, who pays what or whatever. I mean, my gut feel is, Roman, he is extremely enthusiastic and extremely passionate. Now, in my experience, those kind of people, as engineers, are great, but, and this is me included, us as business people are absolute shite. So go from there. But I wish him well. A number of patent lawyers actually got in touch. So I had a chap from Switzerland and a couple of patent lawyers from the US, and the opinions of them were quite differing. So the guy from Switzerland, he thought that Qvist patent would be upheld and that they're basically taking a license fee for it. But the guys from the States, they were of the view that the Qvist patent would not go through, and therefore the patent is basically invalid, and then Elite can do whatever they want. I think if you look at the kind of technology involved in this, the hub is going to be a bit heavier than just a normal hub, and unless it's like a killer feature for a road bike, they probably don't need it. So, Elite could just fit the DT style ratchet, which has come off patent, and probably no one would really bat an eyelid. For Qvist, it is their sort of signature product, so it probably matters a lot more to them. So there we go. Right, some new bikes. This is the new Pinarello. Now, I lifted these pictures from, I think it was Weight Wankers, but I think they originally came from Liam from Bike Radar. So if you are Liam from Bike Radar, please let me know, and then I will give you a bit more credit. Although the last time I emailed Bike Radar, they didn't reply. So there you go. So Simon von Bromley, you never reply. I'm going to start reaming you soon, especially with your haircut. Anyway, right. This is the new Pinarello. What is the difference between this one and the old one? Well, the most striking difference is this, which is the head tube. So the UCI regulations around the head tubes were relaxed somewhat, so you can make them deeper, and that is advantageous because if you think about like a normal head tube, almost like round the bearings. What they've done is there's sort of been two variations of this. If that's the bearing, then they draw that. Oh God, the pen's not good today. Like that to make it more of an aerofoil section, or some of them have brought that out to the front. So notably, Specialized go for that technique. Pinarello have gone for that technique. This will generally be better because you've not made it wider than you need to. Some, tossers argue about stiffness and stuff. For the average punter, they're not really going to know the difference. The other, key thing is around the bottom bracket area, around here, that looks like it's majorly beefed up, and that is a generic trend that we're seeing in the bike industry as a whole. I mean, that's advantageous because, again, it's stiffer, but, and this is the but, you get to a point where it's just diminishing returns. And for the average punter, they ain't going to be able to notice the difference. You'll get more flex in the fucked Shimano or about to fuck Shimano crank arm that's going to snap in half before you wear your bottom bracket out, or even in the bearings there's more deflection. Pinarello have gone for this sort of, I'm going to say camtail, but it's just basically an aerofoil with the back trimmed off. So if that's the aerofoil, which I've drawn badly, the pen's not good today, my motor control is not very good today. They've drawn, oh, it suddenly got better. That, is this pressure sensitive? Oh, flipping heck it is as well. Right, they've done that. I've actually drawn that even worse, but they've chopped that bit off. And that does affect your aerodynamics, but rules are rules, and rules exist to be interpreted. This is the new Trek. Is it Madone or a Monda? No one seems to know. Again, I think I got this picture from Liam from Bike Radar. It's still got that stupid, ridiculous, I've been engineered by a marketer seat post thing that's like hanging off the end of that. But this, if this is the Madone, it's been slimmed down quite a lot because the tubes are nowhere near as chunky as they used to be. And this is another general trend that you see in the bike industry. All of a sudden we had climbing bikes and aero bikes. Now we're just having one bike does everything. You've got these sort of thin stays, which will give the bike a bit more bounce. And that's about it. And I don't think they are using Shimano. I'm not sure actually. Is it SRAM? I think that's a SRAM brake. Oh, actually, yeah, it is SRAM. I think they've got SRAM all over it. This has now got T47, so SRAM's not technically disadvantaged, because when they had BB90, which was a couple of generations ago, SRAM were screwed because they were the only people that still had the GXP bottom brackets. And this is now Mathieu van der Poel on his new Canyon bike. And this is another trend that you see. So this is, I think, the Aeroad bike. The big thing here is the tyre clearance. I mean, this is almost like my Look KG386. In fact, I'd probably say it's worse than my Look KG386 in terms of tyre clearance. Generally speaking, if you go and speak to an aerodynamicist worth his salt, he will want to minimize that clearance because the most effective boundary is a solid boundary. Having a gap between these objects creates a space in which you cannot control air, and uncontrollable air generally means drag. Okay, so someone out there is thinking, well, if we fit wider tires, then the drag difference or drag reduction from that is better than the penalty from the wider clearance. Now, for the average punter on the road, this is probably better if, and this is an if, you are running wide tyres. Now, personally, me, I don't really weigh that much. I'm 70 something kilos. And I'm still on like 23s, 25s, depending on which bike it is, maybe 28s. And I generally have a high pressure on there because I don't want the tyre to come off. Okay, so that's it. So we go from there. Right, Now, transient testing is coming. So following on from that, let me just show you this. So this is Magnus Betkilev. I know I pronounced that wrong, but I don't really have any Viking in me. I'm probably about 0% ginger. Right, this is wind tunnel. I'm pretty sure that's the Airbus wind tunnel, ex-Airbus wind tunnel. But anyway, someone sent me this and I was quite, not fascinated, but happy to see that someone had actually gone down this route of checking transient flow. So they've even used the same techniques that you would use in industrial applications. So you've got these louvers at the bottom of the screen, and they're moving left to right as you look at it. So the angle's changing, and you can also see the airflow that's moving around with it. The thing to note with this is the airflow doesn't quite go off at an angle because the fan is pulling from behind. So if you look at, oh bollocks, if you look at that, the bike, the fan, let's say, is behind the test object. So you can get something called induced draft and forced draft and various other bits and pieces. But anyway, that's where that is. And there was like a, yeah, you can see that. So the fan's behind him, pulling the air through. And then you can see this. So I thought that was quite a neat setup. So whoever's designed that is, I'd give them a pat on the back. And further down the line, you can see that they look like the flow straighteners. So yeah, that's where we are with that one. Now we come on to this bit, which is this week's unfortunate fucker. And I'm going to make this a regular thing, which is when we get someone, a random punter, send something in that they've usually broken. So this is a Favero Assioma shit. I've done the tip backwards. In fact, I probably should have done it upside down. Shite. Right? Look at this. Look at this. That looks like a torsional failure if I've ever seen one. There is a bit of debate as to how this has happened. The short answer is I don't know, but I'm guessing something must have seized. Now, the problem with these things is half the evidence is lost when the actual snapping occurs. You want to get to it before it snaps, and then you can see what's happened. Now, if it has seized, it's more than likely that a bearing has stopped rotating and then the axle's gone round and you basically just launched itself. But it's very unusual for that to happen. I don't think I've seen a shaft axle from a pedal break from a torque overload ever. So just if you do have a set of Favero Assiomas, then do look out for that. I mean, I think this is the first one that I've seen, but nonetheless, that suggests, it, to me, looks like a defect. I mean, I can show you some textbook examples of that. Right, questions, comments, all that shite. Right, remember to subscribe. The website is hambini.com. You can get your bottom brackets, bearings, and all that good stuff there. If I'm going to shill myself, I might as well shill me, seeing as I'm a lowly paid journalist. Lowly paid. Remember to comment, and if you are that way inclined, I am on Patreon for discounts, previews, and if you want priority technical support, go on Patreon. Right, that is the end of the show. If you did enjoy it, remember to smash that like button. If you didn't, go screw yourself, and as always, keep banging your hairdresser.